Hey everybody, Adam here with Hometown Acres. Welcome back. Today I want to give you guys a quick update on the pond now that we've had the RPS solar pump running for about 5 days. Now it is worth noting that the last 5 days that hurricane was coming up from the Gulf, and while we didn't get a tremendous amount of rainfall from the hurricane, it was very cloudy here for the last 5 days. And I was surprised with how much the pump was actually running even under full cloud cover. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the pump's performance even under cloudy weather. And then today's going to be the first day that we really have full sun from morning till night. And I want to show you where the pond level is at the beginning of the day and where it is going to be at the end of the day. So we installed this pump on September 27th. And on that day, I showed you guys on our water level stick here that the pond level was right at about 1 foot. And today is October 2nd, and we are about 4.5 inches. So in 5 days, under full cloud cover, we added 4.5 inches, which I think is pretty impressive for this size of a pond. One other thing I wanted to mention is those 5 days that it was cloudy, I could typically expect the pump to kick on about 11 a.m., right? So I would say that the most sun that we get this time of year is between the hours of noon and 2. Actually, that's probably a fair statement for all year round. But it is 8:30 right now, and this pump has already kicked on. I think we're going to move a lot of water today. And on a fully cloudy day, I would typically see the pump kicking off about 4 p.m. So even on full cloudy days, we were getting about 5 hours of pump runtime. And here's the interesting thing, even on days that it rained, so full cloud cover and rain, the pump would still kick on between the hours of noon and 2. It was able to get enough power. Now granted, it's not running at full speed when it's running under those conditions, right? This pump is rated to pump 58 gallons per minute. And I showed you guys the first day we installed it, it was partly cloudy, and you can actually see right now it's kicking off a little bit, and now it's kicking back up. So this pump does run on variable speed depending on how much sun the panels are collecting. But that day that I did it under cloudy conditions, we were getting about 30 gallons per minute, and I'll be curious to see what we're going to get here today under full sun. Let me go down and show you the solar panels right now, because even though we are full sun right now, the sun is not perfectly aligned with the solar panels. It's kind of hitting them from the side right now. So here is our solar array from RPS Solar, and you can see I've already made it a little bit dual purpose by keeping my diesel tank under here. But if we look up, the sun is, again, it's 8:30 in the morning, it's all the way over on the side. It's hitting the panels from the side, so we're not maximizing the efficiency of the sun right now. What I want to do is I want to come back out here when the sun is directly overhead between the hours of noon and 2, and we'll take a gallons per minute reading to see what we're actually putting out. But I mentioned already that the pump would normally kick on about 11 a.m. on a cloudy day, and here we are 8:30. And where we have this situated here, no trees, no shade or anything around it, and we're already producing water at 8:30 in the morning. All right, so if we're gonna keep track of how much water we add to the upper pond, I also want to check this morning where our water level is in the lower pond. Now I know since we've added 4.5 inches to the upper pond, the water level in this pond has also dropped, because this is the water source for the original pond. And I'll show you how much it's dropped already, and then we'll get an idea of where it's at first thing here this morning and see how much it drops by the end of the day. So when we first started pumping water, the water level on this pond was, this is kind of what I'm using as my measuring device, right to the bottom of that lip right there. It never actually, once I turned the standpipe up, it never actually got all the way over the top of that. But you can see how much it's dropped since then. From that lip to where it's at now, it's probably dropped about 4 inches, which leads me to believe that this pond is still producing water. Even though we're pumping it down faster than it's coming in, there's no way that 4 inches in this pond equals 4 inches in that pond. I would say to add 4 inches up to that pond up there, we would probably need to pump 6 or 8 inches out of this pond, because this pond is so much smaller. So the fact that we are on a 1-to-1 ratio right now leads me to believe that we have a tremendous amount of water still bleeding in from the groundwater into this pond down here. So that's where we're at right now. I'm going to check back with you guys here later this afternoon around noon, see over the course of 4 hours how much the pond level has come up, as well as what we're getting for a gallons per minute flow rate once those panels are in full direct sun over there. All right, so it's about 1 in the afternoon right now, and as you can tell, that sun is perfectly in line with the solar panels. So let's head up and see what kind of flow we're getting with direct full sunlight. Oh yeah, we've got a fire hydrant coming out of there now. I'm wondering what the water level has done in those 4.5 hours since this morning. So we were at 4.5 inches on our depth gauge this morning, and now we are sitting at 6, actually a little bit over 6. So in 4.5 hours, we put 1.5 inches in this pond up here. Let's go ahead and see what we're getting for a flow right now. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, go. And stop. All right, so let's do the math here together. If there's 60 seconds in a minute, 60 divided by the 4.4 seconds it took to fill that up means that I could fill that bucket 13.63 times in 1 minute. And there's 5 gallons in there, so times 5 equals 68 gallons per minute that we're getting right now. So I mentioned before that this pump, RPS told me it was rated to do 58 gallons per minute, and you gotta love when a company under promises and over delivers, and right now this pump is over delivering 68 gallons per minute. I'm pretty happy with that. But let's just see, times 60, that works out to almost 4,100 gallons per hour. And on a day like today, we're gonna get 8 hours of sun from 8:30 until, I don't know what time this is gonna cut off, but let's say 5:30. That means that we will effectively pump about 32,727 gallons into the pond today. Again, this is the first day that we've had with full sun, and we're already up 1.5 inches. I'll be curious to see what we end up with at dusk. All right, guys, it is now 5 p.m. You can see the sun has shifted all the way across the sky from morning, noon, and now we are an hour past where the pump would normally have shut off on a cloudy day. So let's head up to the pump. I'm sure it's not putting out the full 68 gallons per minute reading that we got earlier, but let's go see what it's putting out right now. Oh yeah, we definitely have a slowdown in our flow here. You can see where I have this bucket sitting is where the water was coming out and hitting it before during midday when we had the most amount of sun and we were getting full 68 gallon per minute flow. But let's go ahead and test and see what our flow is right now at 5 p.m. So 1, 2, 3, go. And stop. So that was about 10 seconds, which puts us back at around 30 gallon per minute flow, which is the same as what we were getting from noon to 2 on a cloudy day. So that's good to know that at 8:30 in the morning and 5 p.m. in the evening, we're getting about the same amount of flow as we do from noon to 2, the ideal peak hours on a cloudy day. But it is now 5:15, and I think for the rest of the evening, I'm just gonna sit out here and watch this thing and see what time it quits. And then we will talk about how many inches the pond came up in one full sunny day. We'll go down and check out the lower pond, and we'll try to get a rough idea of how many gallons we pumped today. All right, well, we didn't have to wait long, another 15 minutes. It's now 5:30 and the pump just shut off. And you can tell it's still pretty bright and sunny out here. The problem is it's just real low in the sky and it's hitting those panels from the side. So even though it's still sunny out here, the panels are not able to collect any more rays to run the pump. And so that is all the more we got for today. So let's do an update and see how far the pond came up today. Now again, remember, we started the day at 1 foot 4.5 inches. And right now we are up to 1.7 3/4. Effectively adding 3.25 inches to this pond up here. Now let's go see what the damage is that we did to the lower pond. How far down did we drain that one? All right, so here is what the lower pond looks like. And I can tell you right off the bat, the first thing I need to do is I need to move the pump to deeper water. So that'll be something we get done here tonight before the sun comes back out tomorrow. We've got 3 or 4 days of good sunny weather coming up here. So I need to make sure that I've got that pump in deep enough water that I don't run it dry. I think it has some emergency shutoffs in it that if it senses that it's not in deep enough water, it will shut off and not run. But I'd rather not take the chance. But as we come back over to our little standpipe over here, this will be the, I mean, just looking at it, the pond still looks full, right? Because we had it raised up so much. But as you get closer to the dam and the standpipe, this is where you really notice the difference. So if we show you the before picture and then the after, our water level before was just about 1 inch below this ribbing here. And so if we measure from from the water level right now, I'd say we probably lost about 5 inches in the lower pond down here in order to gain 3 1/4 up there. Now, the one benefit to the solar pump is that it's not running 24/7, right? So, I mean, if you had a well, I wouldn't necessarily be worried about that, but we basically have a duty cycle on this pond, right? We need to allow overnight for the groundwater to work on replenishing this. I don't think it's going to replenish it as quickly as we're pumping it out on a good sunny day, but every little bit helps. So obviously for the foreseeable future, we're going to be taxing this lower pond down here because the upper pond is not full. So we're trying to fill that upper pond as quickly as we can. But once the upper pond is full, we might only need to run the pump every other day or every third day just to fight off evaporation. And the jury's still out on whether we have any leaks in the upper pond still. So once the upper pond is full, then we should allow this one to rest a little bit and hopefully get this one to be full too. And another thing that I can do is we do have pond number 3 down here, and that one I really don't care about at all. We could start pumping water from that one into this one and then let the solar pump take that all the way up to pond number 1. So we've got options here. Now, as far as how much water we pumped today, I had mentioned earlier doing some fuzzy math that we were 32,000, 33,000 gallons per day when we were pumping 69 gallons per minute right at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, which is, optimal conditions. And from 8:30 in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, we didn't have optimal conditions all day. I think we measured in the morning, we were about 30 gallons per minute, and in the evening, we were about 30 gallons per minute. So we need to average that number down a little bit. So instead of 68 gallons per minute, I think if you average that in with the 30 gallons per minute we're getting in the morning and night, you could probably say somewhere between 45 and 50 gallons per minute is what we're averaging. And the pump was running for about 9 hours today, which the math works out on that to about 24,000 gallons that we pumped today to raise that pond up 3 1/4 inches. Now, I think that's a much more conservative number, a much more realistic number, but to put that into perspective, 24,000 gallons, my parents' in-ground swimming pool is about 18,000 gallons. So that's 6,000 gallons more than my parents' in-ground swimming pool. And the best part about that is an awful lot of water to move 45 feet uphill, which required a tremendous amount of power. And because all of this is run off of the sun, the electric company's not going to be calling me to pay that bill. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to about wrap this one up. Day 1, full sun with the new solar pump. I find this stuff extremely interesting. You can do all the shopping in the world and see all the statistics and specifications and how everything is supposed to work on paper, but I really enjoy the real world, real test. I'm just some guy that installed this myself. I'm not a professional, and these are the real world results that I'm getting. They quoted me on paper that the pump would do 58 gallons per minute, and turns out we're getting 68 gallons per minute. So I'm pretty happy. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, click that subscribe button, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.